I think one of the most misunderstood things about business ownership is equity. I remember when I was learning about business, when I was first a business owner, definitely when I was an employee before I ever owned a business, I heard people talk about debt to equity ratios and capital raises and the capital stack. And equity was a word in there, but I didn't totally understand what it meant. And that sounds kind of silly, having been an intermediary now for a decade, to say that I didn't totally understand what equity was in the beginning. But having owned, now this is the second business that I've owned, I can tell you that equity, it basically equals freedom, but it also, and it equals money. You get to keep the equity that you make, but it also means responsibility. At the end of the day, if you own equity, you are responsible for your own actions to the nth degree, and you have nobody to blame if you have total ownership of your company. If you don't like how your company's going, you don't like what your books look like, and you own all the equity, you're looking in the mirror if you're looking for someone to blame. But it also, back to the opportunity thing, you have the opportunity to change it if you own all the equity. I meet people who share equity, and some of them are in challenging situations because they own something and they're sharing it with someone else. And if they don't like the results, they don't have the autonomy that they need to make a change. So equity is tied to ownership in proportion, in that if you don't own it all, if you have some equity but not all the equity, that can be a trap of its own. I've seen this a lot. Equity also means incentive. So I see owners who will give a little bit of equity to employees, and they become owners when they do that. And if they're not properly governed by operating agreements and specific instructions of what that equity means for voting and stuff like that, owners can be giving away some of their autonomy there too, just by sharing some of their equity, even with a minority stake. I'm thinking of a specific business where they had given like 2% to managers at different locations. And when it came time to sell, some of the business buyers were like, I don't care what the paper says. Those are owners of the company. Why aren't they at the table when we negotiate? So be careful with your equity. If you own equity, be careful about giving it away. And think about other equity-like vehicles. Phantom stock is an example, where you can give the illusion of equity, the incentive of equity, to someone else without giving up the control. But ultimately, equity does equal freedom and opportunity. And it's a great thing. And the more you exercise having equity and building equity, that's another fun thing about equity is you can do forced depreciation as a fancy real estate word. It just means sometimes your equity can grow. The value of your equity can grow through forces, through market conditions. But if you don't have the equity, you don't get to enjoy that type of stuff. So equity is opportunity, is responsibility, and it should be handled with caution. I hope you enjoyed the musings of Neal Isaacs, the Raleigh business broker, today. Let me know what you want to hear about. Put your thoughts in the comments. Until next time, maha.